Good morning, students. So this is lecture 7 of chapter number 1, The Rise of Nationalism in Europe, class 10th, subject history. So now we are at the end of this chapter. We are going to cover the end series of this chapter, and till now we have discovered a lot about this chapter, that how this nationalism feeling came in Europe, about the French Revolution, the Civil Code, then the war between 1830 till 1848, the unification of Germany and Italy, and the visualizing of the nation. Now in this particular series, the last series of this chapter that we are going to cover here is about nationalism and imperialism. So we are going to discuss that, about what does you all know about nationalism. Now there was a new concept that came in Europe, which was imperialism. So what does that mean? I will let you know. And then about there was some tension in the Balkans. Basically how this tension in Balkans came. Then at the end I will just let you know about the overall overview of this chapter and the homework solution that I have given in the previous lecture. So it is quite small series, it is not a big series at all. So basically, first of all, I just want you to know about what does imperialism mean. So as you all know about nationalism, it's a kind of a feeling of belongingness, a kind of a feeling that attached to your own nation. Now this imperialism is just a opposite of a nationalist feeling. It is just a bigger and bigger picture for a nationalist country. Like we are taking example here, India. If India wants to become bigger and wants to acquire more and more power within themselves, so because we are now we are having this nationalism feeling within themselves, and we want to acquire as much power as we can. So how this can help? So they were taking all the other boundaries, and other continents in their own country. So they want to acquire every other country's power within them. Like India, if they want to acquire the power of Nepal, with Sikkim, Bhutan, Myanmar, so they want each and every part that is around all the boundaries, all the other countries, and they want to acquire within themselves. So that is imperialism. That's a greedy feeling that they want to be bigger and the best of all. So they want to rule the entire world. They want to have power in each part of the world now. So they want to acquire every part of the country within their own boundaries. So that was imperialism as a whole. So now how this imperialism has occurred in Europe, how this feeling have developed there, and how does this become a tension in Balkan. So basically in the last quarter of the 19th century, there was a nationalist feeling that was no longer retained. Its idealistic liberal democratic sentiments of the first half of the century was acquired, but became a narrow creed with limited ends. So now this nationalist feeling, which was going on at that point of time, now has overtaken and overpowered everything whatever they have wanted. So the constitution is set up, the unification of countries is being set up. Now they want every other part of the country within themselves. They want to acquire every part of the country want to acquire other parts of the countries within their boundaries. They want to be more powerful. They want to have their own power and rule in other countries also. So just because of this, during this period, this nationalist group became increasingly intolerant of each other, and they were ready to go to war. So because of all these things that was going on, they were ready to go to war, and the major European powers that were there, they manipulated this nationalist aspiring of the subject people in Europe to further their own imperialistic aims. So whoever nationalist personalities were there in the parts of these countries, they have taken all the control from this imperialistic aims, that they want to acquire other parts of the boundaries as well within their boundaries. They want to acquire other countries' powers within themselves. So that was there in nationalism and imperialism. Now the most serious source of nationalist tension in Europe after 1871 was the area called the Balkan. So Balkan was the area where there was the most diversified part of Europe, where you will find n number of languages, n number of cultures, and there were that place was so diversified that they each and every part of Europe want to acquire that land. So each and every part of the other parts of the country, they want to acquire that part only because that is the most diversified, and there are multiple of languages, multiple of cultures. So that's why they were in such a way, so they each and every part of the country want to acquire that land. So in nationalism in the Balkan, the Ottoman Empire was a dominant Muslim who was ruling over predominantly Christian people. So there were many Muslim regime also who were predominated by these Christian people there. And the spread of this nationalist revolutions in Western Europe and inspired by romantic nationalist feeling, the ethnic constitutions of the Balkans demanded liberty. So Balkans were also demanding for liberty in their places. It was not there, and at that time, other parts of the Europe, the Western Europe that was there, they want to acquire that part. So they base their claims on their district, national identities, and historical references to earlier state of independence. So they want that if you be a part of our country, we will just assign you to the state of independence in your place. And as the Ottoman Empire weakened, the various nations broke free. So basically what has occurred in Balkan was there was a region where these geographical and ethnic variation was compromising the modern day Romania, Bulgaria, Albania, Greece. There were so many places that they want to acquire Balkan as a whole. They want that particular place to be dominant from within themselves. So the spread of the idea of this romantic nationalism in the Balkans together with the disintegration of the Ottoman Empire made the region very explosive. So because of these Muslims regime were there at that point of time, and they want to acquire the entire Balkan state and they want to fight it out. So there were many disturbances that were being created because each and every part, this Muslim empire, the Christian people, the other parts of these countries, they wanted to acquire the Balkan in their country. They want to acquire that power within their country to be more powerful. So everyone was trying at that point of time to acquire the power, and these all the nationalists became imperial. They want they become greedy. They want as much power as they can, and that's how World War I in 1914 that came up with this, because there was so much of tension that was going on in each part of these countries, and they have led Europe to a disaster in 1940. But meanwhile, there was many countries in this world which had been colonized by this European power in the 19th century, which was begun to oppose imperial domination. So like India was also under British rule at that point of time, you all know, and we got independence in 1947. Because of these world war which was going on, the liberation which was going on, Europe has also united and given a power to other parts of the country to colonize them and to dominate them in such a way. So the anti-imperial movements that developed everywhere was these nationalists, in the sense that they all struggled to form independent nation states, and where they have inspired a sense of collective national unity. They have forgotten in confrontation with the imperialism, and this European idea of nationalism were nowhere replicable. For people everywhere, they have developed their own specific variety of nationalism, but the idea of that society should be organized into nation state, and they came to be accepted as nature and universal. So because of this world war which was going on, many of these countries got imperial and they have stood up to become a nation state itself. So they have done, they have also fighted out for their own self because of this European imperialism, liberty, and whichever thing was going on there. It has liberated many of the countries their own within themselves, and they have liberated other part of the country as the nation states. For example, you can take India, and the idea of the society should be organized into nation states, and they have accepted that as a nature and universal change which came because of this rise of nationalism in Europe. So that is whole as a chapter. As you can see here in this chart also, Romania, Bulgaria, Serbia, Greece, Turkey, all these parts of the countries, they want to acquire Balkan as a whole. So they were in such a position that they want to acquire um, Balkan within themselves. So about the overview of this chapter. So first of all, I just want to know you about the overview of this chapter. So we have discussed about how this nationalist feeling came from French Revolution, how Napoleon came in Europe, and then he has started with the change with the civil code that happened in Europe. After that, when the Napoleon Code was abolished, there was certainly making of this nationalism in Europe from the middle class society that have been developed in Europe in 1930, and after that there was certainly wars and constitutional system that have been made between the revolutionaries and the conservatism. After that there was certainly a time of where they have seen hardship. There was certainly depression period of time which is going on, and this nationalist feeling was also being deprived. But it has created and unified Italy and Germany, and then UK also. After that, they have visualized the nation as a female figure, and in the end, the World War that came up with the tension in Balkans have created many of the nation states in the entire part of the world. So that is whole as the rise of nationalism in Europe. Now the homework solution that I have given you was question number 3. Who was Marine and Germania? What was the importance of the way in which they were portrayed? So Marine and Germania were respected female allegories for the French and the German state. So they were the female allegories for the French and the German nation, and they stood as personifications of ideals that take liberty and the republic, and the importance of how they were portrayed lie in the fact that this public could identify with their symbolic meaning, and this would instill a sense of national unity in them. So what they wanted, basically the importance here is that they portrayed the fact that the public could identify with their symbolic meaning, and this would instill a sense of national unity in them. Now answer number 5. What the question was, what changes did Napoleon introduce to make the administrative system more efficient in the territories ruled by him? So the answer is, Napoleon introduced the following changes to make the administrative system more efficient in the rural areas ruled by him. So he established civil code in 1804, also known as the Napoleonic Code. It did away with all privileges based on birth, and it established equality before the law and secured the right to property. He simplified administrative divisions, abolished feudal system, and freed patients and serfdom and mandatorial dues. So what he has introduced, basically the civil code was introduced in 1804, which was called as Napoleonic Code, and he has it did away all the privileges that was based on birth. It established equality before the law. He has secured the right to property. He has simplified these administrative divisions. He has abolished feudal system. He has freed peasants from this serfdom and manorial dues. In towns too, he have guild system were removed. Transportation and communication system were improved. Peasants, artisans, businessmen, and workers enjoyed the newfound freedom there. So these were the basically changes that make the administrative system more efficient in the area ruled by him. And the homework for today that I want to give you is that you have to please read the entire chapter carefully. You will find a lot of details about the chapter, and do solve the NCERT textbook question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from given on page number 28 from discuss section. So this is whole as the chapter that we have discussed till now. I will summarize the chapter in the next lecture, and if you have any queries, you ask me in the comment section. I will explain those particular topics in details again. I really don't mind to explain you all the things again. If you are not finding it easy to remember things, you can just tell me. I will make notes for you and I will give you in the CPD form only. You can write it down in your copies and in your notebooks. And please do tell me about your queries in the student inquiry section or in the comment section if you have any. Thank you so much, class.